I actually watched not all four of these movies. There's no motivation to watch the second one, really. So I watched them again. And the one I watched first, the one I was most anticipating viewing again, possibly because I haven't seen it quite as much as the initial film, it's this one, With a Vengeance. Original director McTiernan returns to the project, and they managed to conjure something which might resemble that Lethal Weapon archetype more so than that kind of Die Hard Place archetype, although we can see this as the expansion of the Nakatomi skyscraper and then building on from the airport to the entirety of New York City. There's an interesting idea going on there. Not the most impressive script in the world, although insofar as it's a film which the kind of narrative experience is simply residue from the composed spectacle, this is a film which can be really quite enjoyed, and the dialogue is just more mise en scene for the kind of totality of the experience. What I find really fascinating is just how much action sequences they attempt to weave into one plot line. One film which tries to include as many action sequences as possible and was celebrated for it, whether that was the invoked reason or not, was Terminator 2 Judgment Day. This is Terminator 2 Raiders of the Lost Ark tears of trying to insert a memorable big climaxing of an explosion sequence in as many minutes of the film as possible. However, whilst the film is fairly gratifying as it concludes, I must admit, I think the boldness and audacity of the film's ending, had it been the rocket launcher Russian roulette conclusion, possibly, whilst it may have irrevocably changed the feeling surrounding this film, it may have elevated into a kind of something of a black sheep cult classic, which would be remembered as this brave masterpiece. Instead, it's just another Die Hard sequel, albeit possibly the best of them, rather than a film which was boldly distinct from the first film. This could have been Die Hard's Temple of Doom, one film late, whereas Die Hard 2 was The Last Crusade. It's an odd sort of situation. It's still arguably the Temple of Doom of the three, but it's more so the Lethal Weapon of the three. In any case, the fourth film, that was an interesting case. That was considered very modern and cool and slick at the time, a competitor to Casino Royale or Bourne trilogy, Matt Damon, although now it's considered one of these like very, very, very silly hacker films of the day, and not at all modern and kind of pathetic, although it's a lot better than movie number 5, which no one wants to remember, of course. A bit like how as many complaints people might have had about Rambo 2, 3, or 4, Rambo 5 seems to be far and away the worst thing that they've committed to in that franchise's name. We'll close it here, why not? Thanks again, everyone. I appreciate it very immensely.